Pioneer fans, Pioneer Men's Varsity Lacrosse is live and on the air. We are live here at Hollway Field, where it is your Pioneer Men's Varsity Lacrosse team taking on the crosstown rivals, the Skyline Eagles. As we are about to get going in just about 7 minutes, the JV squad just finished up their game, and Pioneer won that one 6-4 to kick off the morning. Let's take a look at Pioneer so far on the season. They started off at Grosse Pointe and won that game 10-9. That was back on March 22nd. The game versus Canton was canceled for the 24th, but on the 4th, this past week, they had a game versus Northville, and they won. They lost that one. Northville won 10-8. That was back on April 4th, 4 days ago. Taking a look at Skyline. It is the Skyline beat Chelsea by a score of 6-3, and then that was back on April 4th, and on April 5th, Novi beat Skyline by a score of 6-4. They have played all away games. It was at Chelsea and at Novi so far. They play at Pioneer, obviously, today, and then if I can put this out a little bit so we can see a few more dates here. I believe they will be actually at home coming up on the 12th. Is going to be their first home game. So they play here at Pioneer. They play at Saline on the 10th, and then they play at Skyline finally versus Bedford on the 12th. Pioneer's upcoming games, if I expand this out. As Pioneer's next game is going to be versus Huron, as that will be at Huron on the 10th. That is a 6 p.m. game. That should be on the NFHS network over off of Huron. Then they will be at Saline on the 12th. Again, Saline has the NFHS network. That will be on the 12th at 7 p.m. Then at Temperance Bedford, and that will be at the football stadium, not the lacrosse soccer stadium anymore. That will be on the 17th. Again, that will be on the NFH network as well. 6 p.m. is the start time for that. We do want to thank all the wonderful, amazing sponsors of Pioneer Men's Varsity Lacrosse. That includes Edwards and Schaefer Orthodontics, Franklin Templeton, Knights, Southside Market, Gago Fertility, Dr. April Gago, Jen Gear Photography, First Martin Corporation, Mike Martin, a Pioneer alum, the Venue Restaurant and Bar, Pollock Investment Advisors, Rob Pollock is a Pioneer alum, Winsler Gear, Grieshaber Dentistry, Electric Lawn Company. Thank you to all the wonderful, amazing sponsors of Pioneer Lacrosse. Thank you very much, and please help support those who help support the team. Let's play a couple messages from the MHSAA. Then we will be back going and talk about a few other items, and we'll get back into the game.
Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Here are 5 more good reasons for multi-sport participation. Multi-sport athletes are more coachable. They have higher athletic ceilings. They become better talent in the long run. They have higher sports IQs. Their sports skills transfer, and they are better teammates. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the health and safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the health and safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The love of the game draws us to sports, as players, coaches, spectators, and officials. For officials, it's a way to stay in the game they once played, to feel the thrill of putting on the uniform, stepping out of the playing surface, hustling to make the call, and building the relationships which can only be built in sports. If you still have that love for the game, we always need new officials. Register now at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
As the teams are huddled up and we're about to get going in just about a minute and a half, Skyline in their dark blue jerseys with the lighter blue numbers on those light blue or white. Lighter numbers on the back. They're white outlined in light blue on the back there, and then they have the Skyline numbers on the front, and then I believe Skyline Eagles right on the top in small lettering. Pioneer in their white jerseys with the purple numbers outlined, or the gray numbers outlined in purple on the front and on the back. Pioneer in block lettering across the front. Well, a familiar face across the sideline as Jack Robinault, head coach, is joined, and now the playing of the national anthem. As I was saying, there's a co-head coaches. Jack Robinault is joined by familiar face Smith Atwood, former Pioneer lacrosse player, former Michigan State lacrosse player, and former head coach of Pioneer lacrosse, now co-head coach over at Skyline. Ethan Harding and Carl Ernst are the assistant coaches, of course, for Pioneer. Alan Keecher and assistant coaches Drew Barker, Nate Silverman, and Dominic Korvat. We're getting ready to go as Skyline comes out onto the field. 12 minutes up on the clock. Again, the JV squad beat Skyline by a score of 6-4. The varsity squad looking to pop over 500. They are 1-1 on the season. They would like to get that to 2 wins, 1 loss, and more importantly, they'd love to beat their crosstown rivals, the Skyline Eagles. As out there for Pioneer is Friedman, Cow, McQueen, Rosenberg, Gago, and Porter, Schaefer, Shikachi, and Denzin. And one player whose number I cannot kick. Oh, that's Dunton. On the other side, it is, let me pull this up, Stefan Westhoven out there, as well as Wilson, Rothenberg, and then taking a look, 16 would be, that'd be Ernst out there as well, Reichbart, Fry, Mitchell Westhoven, so both Mitchell and Stefan Westhoven out there. Also over is Still, and let's get the other. Simmons. And then the final one would be Zwolinski. In to take the draw. Gago in there versus Mitchell Westhoven, which is a face-off and get-off player. Fogo, as that's pulled down the far wing. Flip back over to Fry. Fry has it for Skyline. Fry coming as he tries to get into the attack zone. Coming down just inside the numbers. Fry has it. Goes right even with the goal. Extended on the near wing. And that flip back over to Still. Fry has it. Coming in along the end line. Fry being watched by Porter. Flips that. Top of the attack zone. Moved over. Coming over is Newton. Flips it back to Fry. Fry between the hash marks. About 5 yards outside the attack zone. Fry comes over on the near wing. Gets that over to Newton. Getting it right back behind to Still. Comes to the near side of the crease. Trying to work around as Rosenberg watching him. Still. Flips that all the way back. Top of the attack zone. Newton with it. Just at the restraining line. Flips it over to Fry. Fry kicks it down over on this near wing. To Still, that's to Mitchell Westhoven, even with the goal. Mitchell Westhoven on the near hash marks. So that goes out. That's going to stay with Skyline as they ran it out. 10:44 left to go here in the first. Scoreless so far. And Still has it on the far side. Coming in, shot. Denzin with the save. Ground ball, trying to rake that up. Pulled over by Porter. Porter on the near wing. Fires that ahead. On a bounce. Trying to get to it is Cow. Rolling it up. Friedman battling for it. And popped down Still on the ground. Now raked up, coming down. Here comes Ayers down the near sideline. Ayers takes a check, and that ball goes out of bounds. That will go over to the Eagles. It's going out to get it, Wilson. Nope, now they'll flip that over, and instead of Wilson, that's going to be Fry who will have it. Fry on the near sideline. There's the whistle, still scoreless. Fry racing down ahead over his own restraining line. Gets over midfield, yard sale as the cross ends up on the ground, but whistle, and that will be Pioneers' ball. Ayers has it. Ayers bringing it ahead. 10:06 left to go here in the first. Scoreless so far. Ayers steps into the attack zone. Ayers between the hash marks, calmly waiting for everyone to get set. Ayers move back over as McQueen has it back behind the goal. McQueen lofts that over to Friedman. Friedman on the near wing, just outside the numbers. Friedman sends it back into the midfield area to Rosenberg. Rosenberg steps into the attack zone, coming down the near hash marks. Rosenberg spins with it, trying to get between a pair of defenders. Swim move. Now Rosenberg even with the goal on the near side. Rosenberg coming in, shot, and he scores!
Pioneer goal number 4, Levi Rosenberg.
And at the 9:27 mark, Pioneer goal for Rosenberg. Pioneer goes up 1-0. Mitchell Westhoven in again to take the face-off. On the near wing is Dutton. Joined over there by Reichbart. On the far wing is Vulicevic, as well as Porter. In to take the draw, or the face-off, is Ayers. So Ayers versus Mitchell Westhoven. They get set on the block A's. So that's pulled around, popped up in the air. Trying to get pulled away, trying to have it as Reichbart. Reichbart rakes it up with the long pole. Back into his own zone. Feeds that back onto the defensive side for Wilson. Wilson. And fired ahead, knocked down right at the restraining line. Ayers has it in the offensive zone. Ayers. Hang on to it. And flip back over. Skyline steals it coming down the near wing in their own zone. Wilson fires it ahead. Grabbed. Rothenberg comes to the restraining line. Stops. Now steps into the offensive zone. Rothenberg with the long ball. He'll flip that back as he heads back on the other side of midfield. Mitchell Westhoven moves it over to Newton. Newton over to Fry. Fry on the near hash marks just outside of the attack zone. Fry working against Porter, racing down the hash marks. Fry goes underneath the goal line, extended. Back behind, moves that over on the far wing. Skyline trying to get a shot off as that was still with it. Knocked down. Here comes Pioneer coming the other direction. Here comes Rosenberg racing down the far sideline, able to stay into the offensive zone. Rosenberg moves that back over to Cal. Cal trying to fire it in, and a goal as that was put in by McQueen from Cal.
Goal number 24, Angus McQueen. Assisted by number 7, Sam Cow.
Beautiful pass and a great finish as Cal found McQueen, who fired it in. And boy, there was not much that I believe that's Stefan Westhoven between the pipes, and it is. Wasn't much Stefan Westhoven could do. Mitchell Westhoven again in to take the draw. Wolf on the near wing with Reichbart.
Number 14,
Beer on the far wing. Over there with Vulicevic. As Wellman trying to break it up, but a whistle. And that is going to be Skyline's ball as they bring it ahead. Mitchell Westhoven gets into the offensive zone, moves that back. As Newton has it on the near hash marks, racing down into the attack zone. Newton goes underneath the goal line, extended. Newton is being watched by Gago. That moved over on the far wing, back out into the offense, back out into the midfield area is Fry. Fry now racing down just inside the hash mark, shot that one. Goes just wide, closest to it, Skyline as they ran it out. That'll be Still with it back behind the goal line. Still comes even with the goal line extended. And fire back into the midfield area to Newton. Newton gets it over to Fry on the near wing. Fry with the shot, Denson with the save. As bringing it ahead, here comes Wolf. Wolf racing down the far sideline. Wolf gets over midfield. Wolf continuing to come down into the offensive zone. Wolf floats that over to McQueen. McQueen in the far corner. McQueen gets it over to Cal underneath the goal line, extended directly behind the goal. Watched back over there by Rothenberg. Gets it over to Friedman on the near wing on the numbers. Friedman sends it back into the midfield area over to Ayers. Ayers gets it over to Dutton. Dutton on the far hash marks. Back over to McQueen. Trying to rake it up. McQueen gets it before it can go out of bounds, even with the goal. Flips that back to Cow directly behind the goal. Cow working against Rothenberg. Comes to the far side. Cow coming in. Trying to get a shot off. That knocked down. Loose and picked up by Stefan Westhoven in the crease. That fired ahead. Now here comes Mitchell Westhoven. That's Newton. Newton into the offensive zone. Tries to move it over to Mitchell Westhoven over on the near wing. Shikachi trying to rake that up. Comes all the way over onto the far side. Denson races over to get it. And still on the ground. Now raked up by Beer. Beer gets it back to Denson. Denson fires it ahead over. Trying to get to Schaefer. That one just went a little high. Battle for it. Trying to rake it up. Dutton had it. Wouldn't stay in the cross. Now right at midfield. As that will be a whistle and looks like a push call. That is going to be Pioneer's ball. Pioneer up 2-0. 5:50 left to go here in the first. Rosenberg steps into the offensive zone. Now back into the midfield area. Flips that back over to Ayers as Rosenberg goes off. Now come right back in. Rosenberg gets it outside of the far hash marks. Rosenberg calls out signals. Being watched by Fry. Rosenberg just about 5 yards outside of the offensive zone. Calling for Dutton to come to his left. Rosenberg gets it over to Dutton just inside the attack zone. Dutton fires it down to McQueen just underneath the goal line extended. Back to Cow directly behind the goal. Cow in along the end line. Moves it over to Ayers on the near wing. Outside the numbers. Ayers back into the midfield area to Rosenberg. Back to Ayers on the near wing. Ayers comes between the hash marks. Ayers puts his shoulder down, fires it, and that goes just wide. Racing out there, running it out is Cow. That will remain Pioneer ball. Cow directly behind the goal, works his way around the crease, ball loose. Cow trying to rake it up, battle for it on the ground. Still trying to get it. Rosenberg had it, that popped up. As now getting it coming down over was Ernst. Ernst fires it ahead. Reichbart gets it back to Ernst. Ernst coming down outside the numbers. As Wilson now coming ahead between the hash marks. Wilson fires it over midfield, and that intercepted by Porter. Porter fires it ahead to Ayers. Ayers for Pioneer over midfield. Coming down the numbers. Ayers gets it over to McQueen. McQueen in the offensive zone, even with the goal line extended on the far wing. McQueen comes inside the hash mark. Sidearm shot, and a heck of a save by Stefan Westhoven, who snags it out of midair. Ground ball right at midfield, raked up by Gago. Gago moves it over to midfield, gets it over to Wolf. Wolf over midfield, coming down the hash marks for Pioneer. Wolf into the offensive zone. Wolf moves it over to McQueen, just underneath the goal line, extended on the far wing. Back to Friedman, directly behind the goal. Now over to Cow on the near wing. Cow on the numbers, about 10 yards above the goal line, extended. Back over to Ayers in the midfield area. Ayers gets it over to Wolf. Wolf steps into the offensive zone down the far numbers. Back to Friedman, back behind the goal. Now over to Cow, just above the goal line, extended on the near wing. Cow slowly now gets a running start, gets a screen, gets between the hash marks. Spin move by Cow. He's rebuffed. Flips it over onto the far wing. Now Cow keeps it, faked the pass, fired it in, and Cow with a goal from about 18 yards out. Beautiful pass fake as he faked me out. Not that that's hard. But then moved over and took a wicked shot that had some velocity to it. 3:13 left to go here in the first. 3-0 Pioneer with the lead. As Gago in to take the face-off versus Mitchell Westhoven. Dutton on the near wing, joined over there by Weeb. On the far wing is Rosenberg, and Vulasevich is out there with him. As trying to rake it up, battle. Dutton comes in now. Gago gets it. Raked up. Gago between the hash marks, heads towards midfield, does a good job to avoid some pressure from behind. Gago over midfield, fires it down. That grabbed by McQueen. McQueen outside the numbers on the far wing in the offensive zone. McQueen, top of the attack zone, now comes back into the midfield area. McQueen waits for substitutions to come in, flips it back to Rosenberg. Rosenberg now on the far hash marks, just outside the far hash marks on the far wing. Flips it over. Now right back behind as Friedman has it back behind the goal. Over to Cow on the near wing. Cow on the numbers on the near wing, about halfway inside of the attack zone. He gets a screen from Ayers. Cow on the far hash marks, now top of the attack zone. Fakes the pass, coming in with that right shoulder down. Now firing it in between the hash marks. That's loose and popped up, coming the other direction. Here comes Skyline. Over midfield, racing down on the near side is Rothenberg. Gets into the offensive zone. Rothenberg flips that back over to Still. Still over to Mitchell Westhoven. That ball got on the ground, but Mitchell Westhoven rakes it up. 1 minute, 58 seconds left to go here in the first. Mitchell Westhoven into the offensive zone. Moves that back over to Still. Just underneath the goal line, extended on the near wing. Still being watched by Schaefer. Goes from the near side to the far side. Still Now works his way around the crease to the far side. Shot, Denson. Gonna get that loose on the ground, trying to rake it up. Battle as looked like Beer had it for a moment. Looks like it went out, and that's going to stay Skyline ball. As Mitchell Westhoven gets it onto the near wing. Even with the goal line extended, coming in, here comes Newton. Newton, great save by Denson. Trying to battle and rake it up. Here comes Ayers down the near sideline for Pioneer. Trying to get it over to Cal, that just over the tip of his cross, out of bounds. That will go over to Skyline. 1 minute, 9 seconds left to go here in the first. 3-0 Pioneer with the lead, but Skyline has the ball as Fry coming down the near sideline over midfield. Fry steps into the offensive zone for the Eagles. Fry racing down on the near hash marks, now steps back. Thought about firing it back into midfield area. Ooh, good job trying to race over as Rosenberg trying to steal it, but Mitchell Westhoven gets it back over to Newton. Newton just outside of the offensive zone between the hash marks, gets a running start. Newton coming down the near hash marks. That shot, Denson got a piece of it. That will go out of bounds. Closest to it was Pfeiffer. That will stay Skyline ball. Skyline moves it back to Mitchell Westhoven directly behind the goal. Rosenberg watching him. Mitchell Westhoven trying to now outside the hash marks, trying to make his way between the hash marks. Sidearm shot, as that will go out. As that will stay Skyline ball. They had a pair of players running out. Closest to it was Skyline. Mitchell Westhoven, or excuse me, nope, that's going to be Zwolinski. Out into the midfield area. Gets it over to Fry right at the restraining line on the near hash marks. Fry. It's a couple yard step. Now races into the offensive zone. Fry flips that over to Mitchell Westhoven. Now back to Still. Still trying to make his way around the crease. Shot. And that will be the end of the first period. At the end of the first period, it is 3-0. Pioneer has the lead, as it was a goal by Rosenberg at 9:27. Then McQueen with an assist to Cow at 8:03. And then at 3:13, it was Cow scoring unassisted. We do want to thank our second quarter sponsors. That includes Stadium Hardware, Specialty Eye Institute, Dr. Louis Gatto, Linda Forrester, a real estate agent with E-Wings Pro, Ann Arbor Made Reclaimed Woodwork, Monahan Seafood Market, Metalwork Design and Build, PLG and Blue Jays Lacrosse Programs, Ron's Garage, and Germain Auto. Speaking of Germain Auto, on the 14th, we do have the Booster Bash, which will be at Germain Audi. So please feel free and get over there. It's the biggest fundraising event of the season. So see if I can pull that up on the go. That's Saturday, April 15th. Excuse me. So 15th is the Booster Bash at Germain Audi of Ann Arbor. That is from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. So come out. You can bid on different things and help support all of the wonderful athletics here at Pioneer. Both squads huddled up and now breaking the huddle. Game time temperature, very sunny, blue skies, 46 degrees. So a little chilly, but it has been getting warmer. Supposed to get up to 52 degrees, but not much warmer, so everyone bundled up. But for spring in Michigan, this is absolutely gorgeous weather. As Skyline coming out in Pioneer, Gago in to take the face-off versus Mitchell Westhoven. And we should be back on air, by the way, with Pioneer Women's Lacrosse on Monday versus Barrysburg. That'll be 6 p.m. here at Hollway Field. This next 3 games, at least for Pioneers Lacrosse, is on the road. As that ball loose coming towards Gago trying to rake it up, still loose on the ground. Wolf trying to get it. Mitchell Westhoven has it. Coming ahead over the midfield stripe. Mitchell Westhoven just outside the near hash mark, steps into the offensive zone. Mitchell Westhoven being watched down there by Ladish. Now Fry has it just outside the near hash marks. Fry flips it underneath the goal line, extended. And over to Still directly behind the goal. Still has Schaefer marking him. Still comes to the far side, now to the near side, trying to make his way around the crease. That ball loose. Back out into the midfield area. Fry rakes it up on the far hash marks. Fry fires it on the near wing. Oh boy, what a point blank shot by Still, who got it just outside the crease on the near side. Fired it, that stopped and goes out of bounds. Run out, and that will maintain Skyline's possession. 11:03 left to go here in the second, 3-0. Pioneer with the lead. As Schaefer going off. Substitutions coming in. Schaefer will take a knee, so Skyline will be man up. That move back to Newton. Newton puts it over to Fry. Top of the attack, so now over. Stefan Westhoven, saved by Denson. And picked off in midair by Gago. Gago back and an own goal as he flipped it back to, trying to get it back over to Denson. And just, not sure Denson was expecting that when it managed to slip in. So that will be a Skyline goal at 10:49. And that would be a soccer term, an own goal for Pioneer. And for the face-off, Mitchell Westhoven in to take the face-off versus Gago. Raked back. Mitchell Westhoven has it coming down. Now heads over the blockades on midfield. Mitchell Westhoven into the offensive zone. 3-1. Pioneer with the lead. Now that fired back. Trying to get to Newton. That rolls out into the midfield area. Fry races over to get it on the numbers about 10 yards outside of the offensive zone. Fry steps into the attack zone. Fry trying to cut between the hash marks. Porter knocks it away. Porter trying to get it. Oh, picked out of midair by Newton. Timeout called as Skyline wants to talk it over. It was a beautiful job by Porter and just flipped up in the air, and then Fry managed to get it. Well, let's play a quick message from the MHSAA, and we will be right back as at the 10:16 mark here in the second. It's Pioneer 3 and Skyline 1.
Sportsmanship has never been more important between the lines in athletics and outside those lines in our communities. To listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without contentiousness. Sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Again, we want to thank all the wonderful, amazing sponsors for Pioneer Varsity Lacrosse. That includes Stadium Hardware, Specialty Eye Institute, Dr. Louis Gago, Linda Forrester, Real Estate Agent with E-Wings Pro, Ann Arbor Made, Reclaimed Woodworks, Monahan Seafood Market, Meadowlark Design and Build, PLG's and Blue Jays Lacrosse Program, Ron's Garage, and Germain Auto. As Skyline puts it over and along the far wing. Mitchell Westhoven gets it back behind. Now that over onto the near wing for Simmons. Simmons between the hash marks. It's over on the far wing for Zwolinski. Zwolinski sends it even with the goal. Now back over to Zwolinski. It's it back over to Simmons, just in the midfield area. Simmons with it. Between the hash marks, gets a running start, racing down just down the far hash marks. Over on that far wing, sent right back behind. Race for it, trying to rake it up as Pfeiffer tried to get it. Loose on this near sideline. Still battling. Schaefer trying to get to it. Shikachi trying to get to it. That goes out of bounds, and that will be Pioneer ball. As firing it all the way ahead at midfield. Picked up on a bounce. Wouldn't settle down as Wolf thought he had it. Now coming the other direction is Newton over midfield. Newton coming down the far hash marks. Newton into the offensive zone. Newton goes underneath the goal line extended. Being watched by Rosenberg. Newton comes directly behind the goal and trying to make his way around the crease. That ball popped up in the air, racing to get it. Raked up by Denzin. As the ball comes over, whistle. That is going to be Skyline ball, as Skyline will be man up. Penalty to Pioneer as Friedman takes a knee. Simmons has it even with the goal. That's sent back on the far hash marks over to Fry between the hash marks. Over to Graham or Newton on the near wing coming in. Shot saved by Denzin. Loose. Still with another shot. Denzin tips it. That goes out the far sideline. Closest to it was Simmons. So that will stay Skyline ball. A couple really good saves by Denzin. Substitutions coming in for Pioneer. 8:47 left to go here in the second. 3-1 Pioneer. With the lead, Skyline hands the last goal. Another penalty to Pioneer. 2 players taking a knee, so 2 men up by Skyline. Fry has it between the hash marks over to Newton. Newton thought about a sidearm shot, firing it out in front. That loose on the crease, now bringing it ahead. Here comes Denson down the numbers. Denson does a swim move coming ahead. He takes a check. Denson still with it. Now gets it over to Gago. Gago rakes it up, fires it ahead. Here comes Ayers. Ayers into the attack zone. Ayers moving it over, trying to get it to McQueen. That goes out of bounds. That was a pass, not a shot, so it will be Skyline ball at 8:20. Skyline firing it ahead. That just over Fry's cross, but coming ahead, still has it into the attack zone. Still has it knocked away, but gets it back over to Newton. Newton thought about sidearm shot as Denzin get a piece of it, and that goes out. Closest to it was Skyline, so they will maintain possession as Mitchell Westhoven has it. Above the goal line extended. Mitchell Westhoven outside the hash marks. Gets it to Fry between the hash marks. Now over to Newton. Newton, rising sidearm shot. It goes out. Again, closest to it is Simmons. Skyline maintains possession. They're down by 2. Pioneer with the lead. Mitchell Westhoven on the far hash marks. Over to Fry, top of the attack zone. Over to Newton, rising sidearm shot. Good job by Denzin to save it, but he lost his cross. That raked up behind by Still. Still back over to Newton on the near wing. Newton switches arms with the cross. Now heads up towards the top of the attack zone. Newton flips it back to Fry. Inside the midfield area between the hash marks. Over to Mitchell Westhoven. On the far hash marks. He's about 5 yards outside of the attack zone. Gets a running start as Mitchell Westhoven trying to come down. Rosenberg watching him. Now over to Fry on the near wing. Back top of the attack zone as Mitchell Westhoven steps back into the midfield area. As he comes down, back into the attack zone. Sidearm shot. That one just goes wide to the near side, but run out by Simmons. 6:59 left to go. Here before halftime, 3-1, Pioneer with the lead. Still has it. Underneath the goal line extended on the near wing. Still. Backs over the goal line extended. And that fired. Back into the midfield area. Newton with it. Newton. It's a name you may be familiar with. Several hockey players from Skyline on this team. Trying to make his way down. Newton outside the far hash marks. Fires it back behind to Mitchell Westhoven, just underneath the goal line extended. Mitchell Westhoven. As Rosenberg watching him. Fires that back to Still, directly behind the goal. Still. Trying to come ahead. Still. As Porter watching him. Shot. Great save by Denson. As Still snuck through. Denson with a great save coming up the far side. Here comes Pioneer bringing it ahead. Rosenberg stops just shy of the attack zone. Check coming from behind. And that will go out of bounds. That will be Skyline ball as Skyline gets it right back. Stephen Westhoven in his crease with under 6 minutes left to go before half. Coming down the far wing, now flipped over onto the near wing is Ernst. Ernst gets it over midfield, that to Rothenberg. Rothenberg over on the far wing, trying to get it to Mitchell Westhoven. That goes out of bounds. Porter will get it, and it's Pioneer ball with 5:39 left to go here in the second. Porter gets that over to Denson. Denson walking up the field between the hash marks. And gets it back over to Porter on the far wing, back over to Denson. Denson running down the far hash marks. Denson gets over the midfield stripe. Denson floats it over on the far wing, over to Cow. Cow and steps outside of the attack zone on the numbers. Cow coming down the numbers as he is being watched over there by Rothenberg. And that got back over to Ayers. Ayers between the hash marks in the midfield area. Down on the near wing to McQueen. McQueen to Friedman directly behind the goal. Now over to Cow on the far sideline. Cow sends it top of the attack zone over to Ladish. Now Ayers between the hash marks, about 5 yards outside the attack zone. Over to McQueen on the near wing. McQueen trying to get between the hash marks. McQueen steps back out into that midfield area, taking a few checks from Reichbark. McQueen takes a heavy check, loses the ball, trying to rake it up. And over there trying to get to it. Whistle is battling back there was Ernst as well. Pioneer ball as Ayers has it, just on the numbers on the far wing. Gets it over to Dutton between the hash marks. Now on the near wing to McQueen, just above the goal line extended. Over to Friedman, back behind the goal. Over on the far wing, far sideline to Cow, outside the numbers. Back over to Ayers, just outside in that midfield area. Ayers spins on the far hash marks, trying to get it down over to Cow. Sidearm shot. That one, closest to it, running it out is Friedman, so Pioneer maintains possession. 4:03 left to go before halftime. Friedman in the near corner of the offensive zone for Pioneer. Friedman with the whistle gets it over to Ladish. Ladish back into the offense midfield area between the hash marks. Fires it over to Ayers. Ayers a couple yards outside in the midfield area. Gets it over to Cow on the far sideline. Cow heads back up to the top of the offensive zone. Now back into the midfield area. Now Cow spins between the hash marks. Cow trying to get deep into the offensive zone. Cow has a pair of defenders watching him. He goes down as there's a flag thrown. As I think that's going to be a slashing call. Cow is down in some pain. That'll be a Skyline penalty. As the trainers come out and take a look at him, hopefully Cow will be all right. 3:32 left to go here before halftime. Cow is up. Very good to see. Pioneer will be man up, is taking a knee, is Rothenberg for Skyline. So Cow goes over to the sideline to get checked out. We hope he's all right. Never want to see any of these wonderful athletes injured. Looks like a timeout called. We'll take it with them. How about a little push on, and we will be right back. Pioneer with the 2-goal lead. 3:32 left to go here in the second.
Here are 5 more good reasons for multi-sport participation. Multi-sport athletes are more coachable. They have higher athletic ceilings. They become better talent in the long run. They have higher sports IQs. Their sports skills transfer, and they are better teammates. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
3:32 left to go here before halftime. From Hollway Field, Pioneer has the 3-1 lead. As Pioneer heads back out onto the field, Cow is back out there, so we're very good to see that as the official actually talks to him, making sure he's all right. Pioneer ball.
3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter. Pioneer 3, Skyline 1.
Is waiting for the whistle. I believe Friedman gets it over to Rosenberg, over to Ayers in the midfield area. Ayers gets it over to Ladish. Ladish down the numbers over to McQueen. McQueen back over to Ladish into the midfield area. Ayers gets it over to Rosenberg on the numbers. Back over to Cow. Back to Rosenberg, top of the attack zone. Rosenberg steps into the offensive zone or midfield area. Rosenberg trying to get it out in front. Loose ground ball, trying to rake it up as Ernst had it. That's going to stay Pioneer ball, though, as it goes out of bounds. Last off of Skyline. Cow has it back behind and along the end line. Cow, even with the goal on that far wing, gets it top of the attack zone. Over to Ayers. Now McQueen between the hash marks. Over to Ayers with a shot and a save. That ball in the crease. Trying to rake it up is Stefan Westhoven with a save off of a good shot by Pioneer. Stefan Westhoven goes back. Sidearm, fires it ahead. And ball into the offensive zone, and coming underneath the goal line extended is Mitchell Westhoven directly behind the goal. Excuse me, that was 21, not 11, so Zwolinski. Now Mitchell Westhoven has it on the near wing, just underneath the goal line extended. Mitchell Westhoven still makes a swim move, trying to come through, and there is a whistle. Timeout called by Skyline. Skyline would love to try and get this game a little bit closer before going into halftime. Pioneer would love to try and extend that lead, make it a little bit more difficult on Skyline as they head into the half. 2:12 left to go. As both teams gathered up, what we plan to do, of course, everything is subject to change in weather and everything else, but our plans for this coming week, Monday, we plan to have women's lacrosse versus Perrysburg here at Hollway Field. That will be a 6 p.m. game. On Wednesday, the 12th, we have baseball at 4:30 as Jeff Cass will be on the call there. And then I will have the women's varsity soccer game versus Dexter at 7 o'clock here at Hollway Field. Then with the holiday coming up, there is nothing until Monday, where we will have Monday the 17th, where we will have women's lacrosse, and we'll see if we can do either baseball or softball that day as well. 2:12 coming up before halftime. Everyone heads back out onto the field. Gorgeous Saturday. Big sunny day. I feel like I should be going home and doing some yard work after this, but we'll see if that happens. Hey, look, best of intentions. I'm just saying. Newton has it directly behind the goal. Newton spins with it. Newton gets over the goal line, extended on the near wing, coming up the numbers. Newton Now fires it back behind that over to Still even with the goal on the near wing. Steps back right along the end line, Still. Gets a little bit of room to work. 1 minute 48 seconds left to go here before halftime. Pioneer with the 2-goal lead, Schaefer. Also played hockey at Pioneer, trying to mark him as coming over. Still gets it out into the midfield area for Fry. Fry steps back, flips it over onto the far wing. That over to Simmons. It's it back over to Fry. Fry about 5 yards outside of the offensive zone. Fry gets a running start, cuts to the far side, trying to work against Ayers. Shot there. Denson plucks it out of midair. Denson fires it over on the far sideline. Coming up, racing ahead with it is Rosenberg. Big collision. Ball rolls down. Raked up on the far sideline. Good job by Cow. As there was a major collision as Rosenberg coming up and jarred the ball loose. Cow right on top of it to get it. Whistles blow, and we'll see exactly what happens here. 1 minute 3 seconds left to go here before halftime. 3-1. Pioneer with the lead as timeout called by Pioneer. Again, we do want to mention all the wonderful, amazing sponsors of Pioneer. Men's lacrosse, that includes Stadium Hardware, Specialty Eye Institute, Dr. Louis Gago, Linda Forrester, real estate agent with E-Wings Pro, Ann Arbor Made, Reclaimed Woodworks, Monahan Seafood Network, Monahan Seafood Markets, Metal Arc Design and Build, PLG and Blue Jays lacrosse programs, Runs Garage, and Germain Auto. And again, mention that Germain Auto will be hosting on the 15th. The Booster Bash, 7 to 11 o'clock. Make sure you get on out to that. One of the biggest fundraisers, or the biggest fundraiser of the season for the booster clubs. 1 minute, 3 seconds left to go here. Pioneer with the ball. Rosenberg will have it about 9 yards outside of the attack zone on the numbers. Pioneer looking to try and get one more goal or more before halftime. Skyline would like to get a little closer. Rosenberg steps into the attack zone on the numbers on the far wing, flips it over to Ayers between the hash marks. Now over on the near wing, that got to McQueen back behind to Cow. Cow underneath the goal line, extended on the far wing, gets it over to Friedman on the far sideline, back into the midfield area, over to Ayers between the hash marks. Ayers over to McQueen on the near wing, goes underneath the goal line, extended. McQueen being watched by Ernst. McQueen goes from the near side to the far side, back behind the goal. McQueen spins, trying to come to the near side. McQueen walled off, trying to get it over to Ladish. That pulled away, coming the other direction. Here comes Skyline as Rothenberg gets into the offensive zone. That knocked away from behind by Rosenberg. Rosenberg is that coming ahead with it. Here comes Shikachi. Shikachi. That ball loose. Shikachi trying to get it into the offensive zone. Raking it up. Ayers trying to get to it. Still loose on the ground between the hash marks. Right out in front. As bodies on the turf and whistle. And that will do it for the first half. As well, chaos at the end of the first half. But it is Pioneer 3 and Skyline 1. 1 goal in the second. That was a Pioneer own goal that gave Skyline their 1 point. We'll step away as we'll have a 10-minute halftime. We'll play some messages from the MHSAA. You're watching Pioneer Men's Varsity Lacrosse, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Here are 5 more good reasons for multi-sport participation. Multi-sport athletes are more coachable. They have higher athletic ceilings. They become better talent in the long run. They have higher sports IQs. Their sports skills transfer, and they are better teammates. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the Health and Safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The love of the game draws us to sports, as players, coaches, spectators, and officials. For officials, it's a way to stay in the game they once played, to feel the thrill of putting on the uniform, stepping out of the playing surface, hustling to make the call, and building the relationships which can only be built in sports. If you still have that love for the game, we always need new officials. Register now at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Sportsmanship has never been more important between the lines in athletics and outside those lines in our communities. To listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without contentiousness. Sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Have we gotten to the point where at some high school game that an official has finally had enough from coaches, players, and adults, pulls off the whistle, and offers it to you? Let's hope not. There's no way you could do a better job. It's on everyone to promote good sportsmanship. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Nearly 2,000 of the state's top student athletes will be recognized for excelling academically and in school activities through the MHSAA's Scholar Athlete Award, underwritten by Farm Bureau Insurance. The applicants will be in the running for a total of 32 $1,000 college scholarships. Application materials are available exclusively online through the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
pull that down because we do want to take a moment and thank again the wonderful, amazing sponsors of Pioneer Men's Lacrosse. That includes the third quarter sponsors, Edwards and Schaefer Orthodontics, Franklin Templeton, Gago Fertility, Dr. April Gago, Knights, Southside Market, Jen Gear Photography, First Martin Corporation, Mike Martin, a Pioneer alum, Venue Restaurant and Bar, State and Liberty Clothing, Coach M4 Barber Shop. Thank you to all the folks who help support Pioneer. I have yet to make it over to that Venue Restaurant and Bar. Looks like a cool place. Spent plenty of time at that Kroger's and Lucky, so we'll have to check it out at some point in time.
Number 10, August Gago to take the face off the Pioneer.
Pioneer going from right to left here in the third. Gago in to take the face off versus Mitchell Westhoven. Rosenberg on the near wing with Reitbark. On the far wing is Fry and Dutton. Pioneer defense includes Porter, Schaefer, and Shikachi. Trying to rake it up. Gago, good job using his body to try and protect that ball and grabbing it. Here comes Rosenberg down the near wing. Rosenberg over midfield. Rosenberg down the numbers, steps into the offensive zone. Rosenberg stops there, being watched by Mitchell Westhoven. Over to Cow, even with the goal. Now underneath the goal line, extended. Cow coming down in along the end line, fires it over on the far wing. Now Dutton has it, top of the attack zone, back to Ayers inside the midfield area. Ayers back over on the far wing to Dutton, coming down the numbers. Gets it over to McQueen just behind the goal line. Extended now back over to Cow. Cow directly behind the goal. Cow gets it over to Rosenberg on the near wing. Outside the numbers, top of the attack zone. Over to Ayers in the midfield area. Ayers back over to Rosenberg on the near wing. Rosenberg trying to work against Mitchell Westhoven. Rosenberg and trying to fire it all the way across over to McQueen with a shot. That goes out, tipped by Stefan Westhoven. Closest to it was Cow. That will stay Pioneer ball. 11:01 left to go here in the third. 3-1 Pioneer with it. Cow trying to make his way around the crease. Now there's a shot by Rosenberg. Closest to it was Friedman. That will stay Pioneer ball. Friedman in along the end line. Friedman over to Cow on the near hash marks and along the end line. Gets it all the way top of the attack zone on the near wing to Rosenberg. Back out into the midfield area to Ayers between the hash marks. Ayers into the attack zone, coming outside the hash marks over to McQueen. McQueen trying to get between the hash marks, trying to split a pair of defenders. McQueen in, shoots and scores! McQueen came in, got between the hash marks about 7 yards north of the goal line, extended and able to fire it in. McQueen makes it back to a 3-goal lead at 10:29. Ayers in to take the face-off versus Mitchell Westhoven. Reichbart and Rosenberg again on the near wing. As that's Beer and Vulasevich on the far wing. Ayers trying to get that raked up. Here comes Rosenberg with it over midfield. Rosenberg outside the hash marks, coming down into the offensive zone. Rosenberg steps outside the numbers on the far wing, gets it back just underneath the goal line, extended to McQueen. Directly behind the goal, over to Cow. Cow in along the end line, comes over on the near wing. Top of the attack zone over to Ayers. Ayers on the numbers, flips it back between the hash marks in the midfield area to Rosenberg. Rosenberg fires it over on the far wing and over to Wolf. Wolf gets it down to McQueen, even with the goal now directly behind the Cow. Cow heads towards the goal line, extended on the near wing. Cow now trying to fire it to a cutting Rosenberg. Ball on the ground, raked up. Good job by Friedman to get it. Friedman back into that midfield area, trying to avoid pressure by Wilson. Gets back into the offensive zone. Friedman, heavy pressure by Wilson. Friedman looking for a place to go with it. Gets it over to Wolf between the hash marks. Wolf over to Rosenberg on the near wing. As Mitchell Westhoven watches Rosenberg as he calmly steps into the offensive zone on the near numbers. Rosenberg Waits for everyone to get in their place. Rosenberg gets a screen from Wolf, cuts to the left, racing down towards the goal line, extended, firing it, and tipped by Stefan Westhoven. Closest to it was McQueen, run out, and McQueen will have it in along the end line. 9:06 left to go. Pioneer up 4-1. McQueen directly behind the goal, sidestepping, now cuts back along the crease to the far side. Trying to get it in the middle. Loose ball as he was trying to fire that to a cutting Wolf. Raked up on the near wing, and ball out of bounds. That will be Pioneer's ball as extracurricular afterwards draws the flag. And Vulasevich will have to take a knee.
Skyline penalty.
8:48 left to go here in this, the third. 4-1, Pioneer with the lead. Cal has it. As Vulasevich expresses some frustration with taking a knee over on the far sideline. Pioneer man up. Cal gets it over to Rosenberg. Rosenberg steps into the offensive zone on the near hash marks. Flips that back to Ayers between the hash marks. Ayers now moves it over on the far wing to Ladish. McQueen has it even with the goal on that far wing. Back top of the attack zone over to Ayers between the hash marks. Over on the near wing to Rosenberg. Rosenberg gets it to Cal. Cal just above the goal line extended. Back to Rosenberg, top of the attack zone on the near wing. Rosenberg goes between the hash marks, trying to fire it in. That tipped out in front, but launched all the way by Skyline into the offensive zone for Skyline. Raked up by Gago. Gago racing down the near sideline, gets over midfield. Gago flips that back over on the near wing to Cow. Cow over to Ayers. Back to Cow on the near wing, just outside the near hash marks. Fakes the pass, now gets it back to Ayers, top of the attack zone between the hash marks. Over on the near wing, pass just off the tip of Rosenberg's cross. That goes out of bounds. That will be Skyline ball. Eagles have it as Fry will rake it up on the near wing. 4-1, Pioneer with the lead. 7:50 left to go here in the first. Fry over midfield, racing down the near sideline. Takes a check from Rosenberg, but gets into the offensive zone. Cuts directly to the crease. Shot, as that is a loose ball between the hash marks, raked up by Schaefer. Schaefer fires it ahead. Cal grabs it out of midair, but it's off the cross back into the other side of midfield where Newton rakes it up for Skyline. Newton into the offensive zone outside the far hash marks. Newton. And top of the offensive zone comes between the hash marks. Newton switches spots with Simmons. Newton coming down the near hash marks. Newton with a shot that deflects out. Closest to it is Skyline. 7:11 left to go here in the third. Skyline ball. Pioneer takes a penalty flag on the far sideline. Looks like Schaefer is going to have to go and take a knee. Skyline man up. 7 minutes, 11 seconds left to go. They bring it in from the end line, back behind the goal. Over to Fry between the hash marks. Top of the attack zone. Over on the near wing. Mitchell Westhoven over to Still. Then Mitchell Westhoven gets it back. Over to Fry. Fry over to Newton now. Coming up the far side is Walensky. Between the hash marks. Newton with a shot. Good save. Loose. Shikachi trying to get to it. Now racing over Beer. Knocks that away. Still on the ground trying to rake it up. Still has it. Still gets it on the near wing. Gets it over to Newton between the hash marks. Now over on the far wing to Walensky. So between the hash marks, knocked away. Good job raking it up. Beer popped up high in the air. Loose trying to get it. Here comes Newton. Newton on the numbers for Skyline. Comes back between the hash marks. Newton steps into the offensive zone, then moves it over to Fry between the hash marks in the midfield area. Back to Newton on the far wing. And over to Walensky. Back to Newton. And Newton with a shot that goes wide to the near side, still closest to it. So that will stay Skyline ball. 6 minutes left to go. Still fires it out in front, trying to get it to a cutting Newton. Ball raked up and loose on the near hash marks. Pulling it away is Still, who goes back behind the goal. Trying to come above the crease on the far side. That popped up high in the air. Denzin gets it, snags it out of midair. Pioneer with the ball. 5:40 left to go here in the third. 4-1. Pioneer with the lead. Denson gets it over on the far side to Shikachi. Back to Denson. Denson over to Porter on the near wing. Porter heads over his own restraining line. Back over to Denson. Denson racing down between the hash marks. Fires it ahead. And down the far sideline, Rosenberg steps into the offensive zone. Gets it back to McQueen. Underneath the goal line extended on that far wing. McQueen sidesteps directly behind the goal. Moves it over to Cow on the near wing. Cow goes top of the attack zone over to Dutton. Dutton moves it to Rosenberg between the hash marks in the midfield area. Rosenberg now surveys the field, looks to his right. Gets it back over to Dutton on the right-hand side, that flipped over all the way back in along the near boards. Along the near sideline was Cal. Back over to Dutton. Dutton back into the offensive zone. Dutton racing down the near hash marks. Centering attempt. That knocked down. Loose ball. Trying to grab it. Raked up. Here comes Skyline. Ball on the ground. Knocked away from Bukowski. And raked up. Coming ahead with it. Here comes Skyline over midfield is Rothenberg. Rothenberg. As that into the offensive zone. Pioneer has it, firing it ahead. Schaefer gets it to midfield and fired over to Ayers. Ayers for Pioneer just outside the offensive zone. Steps into the offensive zone, down on the numbers. On the far wing, over to McQueen. McQueen on that far sideline, just underneath the goal line extended. McQueen gets it over to Friedman behind the goal. Friedman, heavy pressure by Wilson, back behind, gets it over to Cow on the near wing, even with the goal. Cow, top of the attack zone, over to Rothenberg on the near numbers. Rothenberg calling out signals, gets it over to Ladish. Ladish, fake the pass, now gets it over to Ayers on the far wing. Ayers, back underneath the goal line, extended to McQueen, that loose, but Cow able to rake it up. Cow comes over the goal line, extended, back over. And along the end line is McQueen. McQueen trying to come on the far side of the crease. McQueen thought about trying to get it in the middle. Now fakes the pass, gets it top of the attack zone. And over to Ladish between the hash marks in the midfield area. Rosenberg on the near wing with it. Rosenberg on the numbers, gets it over to Cow underneath the goal line, extended on the near wing. Cow moving from the near side to the far side. Stops right behind the goal, tries to come to the near side, then the far side, trying to shake Wilson. Wilson stays with them. As that ball back top of the attack zone over to Ladish. Ladish over to Rosenberg on the numbers on the near wing. Rosenberg gets his screen, goes between the hash marks. Rosenberg shot there, bounce shot. As Cow trying to rake it out of midair. That popped down, loose. Still trying to get it back behind the goal. Still battling, trying to get it as Ayers. Now that popped up by Wilson. Wilson gets it over to Stefan Westhoven. Stefan Westhoven gets it back behind his own crease. Lofts it down the far side as Rothenberg brings it down the far sideline. Or excuse me, that was Ernst. Ernst gets it over to Still in the offensive zone. Still cuts towards the hash mark. Shot. Denson able to keep it out of the cage somehow. Denson has it directly behind his own goal. Moves it over to Schaefer on the near wing. Schaefer for Pioneer. Fires it ahead. Plucked out of midair by Ladish. Ladish over to Wolf. Wolf into the attack zone. Down the hash marks. Wolf in front to Friedman with the shot. Oh, what a save by Stefan Westhoven. Point blank shot by Friedman, and Stefan Westhoven able to get in the way. Cow sends it back out into the midfield area to Ladish. Ladish over to Ayers. Ayers between the hash marks. Ayers looks over to his right. He has Wolf over there. Now Ayers gets some room to work. He gets about 12 yards out from the offensive zone. Ayers cuts down the far hash marks into the offensive zone. Spins with it. Back out into the midfield area. Wasn't able to shake Fry. Back over. Now McQueen has it underneath the goal line extended. McQueen heads directly behind the goal from the far side to the near side. McQueen cuts back to the far side. McQueen, shot, and a score.
Pioneer goal, number 24, Angus McQueen.
So McQueen with the hat trick. He scores with 53 seconds left to go here in the third.
53 seconds left in the third. Pioneer 5, Skyline 1.
Wellman in to take the draw versus Mitchell Westhoven. Gago on the near wing with Newton. On the far wing is Reichbart, joined over there by Rosenberg.
Wellman to take the face off the Pioneer.
Offensive players right now for Pioneer. Kurowski out there, as well as Cow, and I believe that's Friedman over there. Ball set for the face-off. As Stefan Westhoven gets it on a hop, heading into the offensive zone for Skyline. Stefan Westhoven down the far hash marks. That goes right back out of bounds, as that was a pass. Pioneer ball. Gago will go to rake it up. Pioneer has it with 52 seconds left to go, trying to add to their 5-1 lead here in the third. As Gago has Wolinski watching him. Fired over to Schaefer on the near wing. Schaefer coming up the numbers. Schaefer fires it ahead. That grabbed into the offensive zone is Rosenberg. Rosenberg steps back into the midfield area on the far hash marks. Rosenberg. Pressure coming by Rothenberg. And now coming back. And sent directly back behind the goal over to Cow. Cow gets it over to Dutton on the near wing. Dutton heads up towards the top of the attack zone. Gets it over to Friedman. Friedman back over to Dutton between the hash marks in the midfield area. Now that sent spinning with it is Rosenberg. Rosenberg with the shot. That deflects out. Closest to it was Pioneer, but doesn't matter. That's the end of the period. Pioneer adds 2 goals. They go up 5-1 at the end of the third. McQueen scoring at 10:29 and at 53 seconds left. Now our fourth quarter sponsors, we want to thank the Specialty Eye Institute, Dr. Louis Gago, Linda Forrester, real estate agent with E-Wing Pros, Ann Arbor Made Reclaimed Woodworks, Monahan Seafood Market, McNamara's Orthodontics, Drain Auto, Pollock Investment Advisors, Bob Pollock, a Pioneer alum, Winsler Gear, and Grieshaber Dentistry. So let's play a little push shot and get you fired up for the fourth. You're watching Pioneer Lacrosse, Varsity Lacrosse. Pioneer up on Skyline, 5-1. As Wellman in to take the face-off. Mitchell Westhoven on the other side. As Mitchell Westhoven racing down the numbers on the far wing into the offensive zone, as Wellman trying to knock that away. And sent back into midfield area. That pass back into the other side of midfield. Cow had it, knocked away. Cow gets it back. Whistle. As Pioneer has the ball coming between the hash marks just outside of the offensive zone is Dutton. Now over coming down on the far wing is Ayers. That loose. 11:30 left to go here in the fourth, 5-1. Pioneer with the lead. As Cow has it on the far sideline. Even with the goal on that far sideline. Cow rake it up. Now fires it now coming over on the near wing. Ayers has it between the hash marks. Over on the near wing. Coming down is Dutton. Dutton sends it underneath the goal line extended. Dutton. McQueen gets it over to Cow underneath the goal line on the far wing. Back over to Friedman. Top of the attack zone now between the hash marks. Ayers has about 10 yards in that midfield area. Ayers jogs over between the hash marks and the numbers on the near wing. Ayers moves that back underneath the goal line extended to Cow. Cow going from the near side to the far side. Calls for the clear out. Cow now directly behind the goal. Stop spins trying to go to the far side of the crease. Double team. Cow trying to split the double team. He goes down in a heap. As a whistle. .10:42 left to go.
Skyline penalty.
As that looked like a push with possession, I believe. Out to take a knee is Vulasevich. Pioneer man up. As Cow will... Nope, that'll be Rosenberg has it. Now we'll move it over to Cow, who will start just above the goal line extended on that far sideline. Cow sends it top of the attack zone. Now between the hash marks is Ayers. Ayers steps into the offensive zone, moves over to McQueen on the near hash marks. McQueen back to Ayers. Thought about it, now moves it over to Rosenberg on the far wing. Rosenberg back just into that midfield area to Ayers. Ayers now on the near wing over to McQueen. McQueen as they play catch top of the attack zone. Now trying to fire it over. Ladish has it on the numbers in that midfield or in the near wing. Back over to Ayers. Ayers thought about it. Man up situation is over. Skyline back to full strength. Ayers gets it over to Ladish on the near wing. Ladish back to Ayers. Ayers between the hash marks, about 8 yards outside of the offensive zone. Ayers racing down on the near hash marks. Ayers has it knocked away from behind, raked up, coming the other direction. That fired ahead, loose ball at the midfield area. That plucked up by Zwolinski, coming down the numbers on the far side. Zwolinski into the offensive zone. Zwolinski, even with the goal on that far sideline. Zwolinski goes underneath, gets it over to Still directly behind the goal. Schaefer watching him. Still, even with the goal on the near wing now, trying to spin, getting towards the crease. Shot. That goes wide, and running it out is Zwolinski. Zwolinski has it in the far corner. Now coming up, sidearm shot, and a score as that was put in by Mitchell Westhoven, number 11.
Skyline goal, number 11, Mitchell Westhoven.
Skyline scores. That cuts it back to a 3-goal lead, 5-2.
Fourth quarter, Pioneer 5, Skyline 2.
Mitchell Westhoven, the goal scorer, in to take the draw.
Number 10,
Gago on the other side. Rosenberg on the near wing with Fry. On the far wing is Dutton, joined over there by Weeb. As that ball loose, trying to rake it up. Gago looking for it as there's a pile up right at midfield. That ball rolls back over, and that is going to be Rosenberg rakes it up. As Rosenberg will come back into that midfield area. As he'll come on the numbers just shy of midfield, and Pioneer with the ball. Here comes Rosenberg. Outside the hash marks on the far wing, trying to get around Fry. Rosenberg into the offensive zone. Rosenberg coming down the far hash marks. Gets that back over to Shikachi, loose, and a whistle, and there is a player down. As Rosenberg ended up face down on turf, he pops up. He looks like he's all right, holding the back a little bit. Good round of applause. Good sportsmanship as Rosenberg goes off to get a little attention on the sideline. As Yang with it. On the far sideline, just above the offensive zone, Yang in that midfield area gets it between the hash marks to Dutton. Heads back over to Yang, that off of his cross. Yang trying to rake it up, avoids pressure by Fry. Yang coming down, but a whistle. And looks like it's going to be a timeout call by Pioneers. They got possession, didn't want to lose it.
Timeout, Pioneer.
So Pioneer timeout. Let's again thank the wonderful, amazing fourth quarter sponsors. That includes Specialty Eye Institute, Dr. Louis Gago, Linda Forrester, real estate agent with E-Wing Pros, Ann Arbor Made Reclaimed Woodworks, Monahan Seafood Market, McNamara Orthodontics, Germain Auto, Pollock Investment Advisors, Bob Pollock, a Pioneer alum, Winsler Gear, and Grieshaber Dentistry. Let's play a quick message from the MHSAA, and we will be right back with the continuation of your fourth quarter. Pioneer up 5-2.
Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
8 minutes, 38 seconds left to go here in the fourth at Hollway Field. Pioneer up 5-2. Trying to hold on and beat crosstown rival Skyline and get to ring the bell. Rosenberg has it just above the offensive zone on the far sideline. Is trying to come down. Rosenberg flips it over to Dutton between the hash marks. Dutton gets it over to McQueen. McQueen coming in, shot, and a score! McQueen did a good job to stop, evaluate, move to his left, and fire it in. McQueen with his fourth goal of the day at 8:26. Dutton, number 12.
Number 12, Kevin Dutton.
So Dutton on the assist with a beautiful pass over to McQueen, who did a good job firing it in. Pioneer back to a 4-goal lead, as it is Gago in to take the face-off versus Mitchell Westhoven. Ayers on the far wing over there with Smolinski. On the near wing is Fry and Dutton. Ball placed between the players for the face-off. Whistle and raking it up. Gago trying to get to it. Ball wouldn't settle down. Still trying to get it. Loose. Raked up by Fry. Fry has it for Skyline coming outside the far hash marks. Fry into the offensive zone for Skyline. Running down. Even with the goal, Fry flips it back behind over to Still. Still. Even with the goal now, Still comes back behind the goal. Spins over to the near side. Gets it over to Fry on the near hash marks. That shot goes just wide. Running it out is Newton. Newton has it on that far sideline. Newton comes in, now goes back behind the goal, moves it over to Still. Still loses it, but gets it back. Still directly behind the goal, trying to make his way around the crease, cuts to the far side, now to the near side. Schaefer trying to stick with him. Shot! That deflected back out in front between the hash marks. Battle for it, trying to rake it up. Beer had it for a moment. Dutton knocked it away. Fry lofts it up in the air as about Three players tangled as Ayers went up and over Zwolinski to try and get that ball. That is going to stay Skyline ball. As Mitchell Westhoven gets it back behind over on the near wing to Still, even with the goal. Now above the goal line extended. Still on the near hash marks, trying to get between the hash marks. Shot though, ball came loose over on that far wing. Fry trying to track it down. He rakes it up outside the numbers. Fry heads towards the goal line extended. Now steps back. Beer trying to stick with him. Fry lofts it all the way back, and that had a little too much air on it. That goes out of bounds. Pioneer ball as they'll have it in along the end line. 7 minutes, 7:01 left to go here in the fourth. 6-2 Pioneer. Trying to get a big win. Trying to get their first home win over arch rival Skyline. And lofted back over to Gago on the near wing off the tip of his cross, but he gets it back. Gago over midfield. Gago coming down the near sideline, gets it over to McQueen. McQueen and back down, and here comes Newton. Newton racing ahead with it for Skyline. Newton coming down those far hash marks over midfield. Newton hops over a Pioneer player and comes down the near hash marks. Newton steps into the offensive zone. Newton gets it back into that midfield area and heads between on the near hash marks. Newton steps over the restraining line, spinning, double team. Newton as that moved over. Pioneer has it coming down, trying to get over midfield. Pioneer over the midfield stripe. That fired by Wolf. Wolf takes a heavy hit. Ayers gets the ball over, trying to get it to McQueen. That goes just away from him. Wolf up. He's popping and bouncing up and down. He's all right. .5:59 left to go. Pioneer will be man up as Fry will take a knee just to the left of the scores table. So Rosenberg goes and rakes up the flag to get back to the official. Just one tick under 6 minutes left to go here in the fourth. Pioneer up 6-2. So they're trying to close out a big game versus Skyline. Cal will have it as he picked it up in the far corner of the offensive zone. Now he'll come even with the goal on that far sideline. There's the whistle, and Cal fires it back, top of the attack zone, over to Rosenberg. Rosenberg gets it to McQueen between the hash marks at the restraining line, over to Ayers on the near wing. Picks it up on a hop. Ayers gets it back over to McQueen between the hash marks. McQueen floats it over to Rosenberg. Rosenberg flips it back over to McQueen. McQueen back over to Rosenberg on the far wing. Rosenberg back to McQueen right at the restraining line. Now moving it over to Ayers. Ayers trying to get it between the hash marks to Friedman. That knocked down out in front. Ayers gets it over to Ladish. Ladish just over the above the goal line extended. Back out to McQueen between the hash marks at the restraining line. Over on the far wing to Rosenberg. Ball on the ground. Rosenberg gets it. Now loose again. Battle forward as Wilson tried to get it. Now raking it up. Coming down. Rothenberg couldn't quite rake it up. That goes out of bounds right in front of the Pioneer bench. That will be Pioneer's ball as Cal has it. Top of the attack zone on the hash marks. Now flips it back. Rosenberg heads back towards the top of the offensive zone over to McQueen. McQueen at the restraining line. Over. Friedman with that shot. And Stefan Westhoven able to get a piece of it. Running it out is Skyline. Skyline with possession. 4:55 left to go here in the fourth. 6-2. Pioneer with the lead. As Skyline bringing it up, flipped over on the near wing to Rothenberg. Rothenberg gets over midfield. Rothenberg firing ahead to Still. Still has the ball, raking it up, almost raked up the official. Still has it. Swim move between the hash marks. Still spinning, gets into the offensive zone, still racing down between the hash marks, trying to come in. Still walled off by a trio of Pioneer players. There's a sidearm shot by Simmons. Goes just wide. Closest to it run out by Skyline. As Walensky goes over the goal line extended, over to Newton back in the midfield area. On the near hash marks, Newton cuts over the restraining line, spins with it between the hash marks. Newton lofts it up, over, shot by Mitchell Westhoven, and somehow Denson got it as Mitchell Westhoven with an underhand trying to roll it in, and Denson getting it. Now that rolled all the way back to the restraining line, loose, raked up by McQueen. 3:50 left to go here in the fourth. McQueen avoids some pressure now, lofts it back into that midfield area for Cal. Cal just above the restraining line. Now cuts down the numbers on the far wing. Cal heads towards the goal line extended. Cal watched over there by Rothenberg. Gets into a cutting. Rosenberg shot. As getting a piece of it, Stefan Westhoven, that goes out. Pioneer closest to it, 3:26 left to go here in the fourth. 6-2 Pioneer with the lead. As McQueen comes above the goal line extended on the near wing. McQueen floats it between the hash marks, trying to get it over to Ladish. As Ernst trying to pull that up. Ground ball raked up by Ayers back into the offensive zone. Ayers comes outside the numbers, stops even with the goal on the near wing. Ayers goes underneath the goal line extended, taking some heavy stick checks from Wilson. Gets it over. Cal with a sidearm shot. Closest to it, Pioneer ran it out. 2:55 left to go here in the fourth. Pioneer up by 4, 6-2. Friedman has it in the near corner. Friedman on the end line trying to get away, and that out over to Wilson. So I believe Friedman ended up stepping on the end line. Wilson coming down on the near sideline, flag. Wilson over his own restraining line. And loose coming up as McQueen had it. So the delayed penalty now comes into play as Friedman goes and will take a knee. Pioneer will be down a man.
With 2 minutes, 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Pioneer 6, Skyline 2.
2:37 left to go here in the fourth. 6-2, Pioneer with the lead. As Newton will start off just over midfield as soon as he gets the whistle. Newton coming down the near side hash mark, steps into the offensive zone, flips that back into the midfield area. Now Fry moves it over on the far wing. Still has it even with the goal on that far wing now, trying to come in, ground balls. They're trying to get it over to Simmons, holding. Skyline with the ball on the far sideline as still has it, still fires it directly behind the goal. As over to Zwolinski, above the goal line extended, top of the attack zone to Newton. Newton fires it over to Still on the just inside the far hash marks. That deflected, racing out. Closest to it was Denson, so that should be Pioneer ball. Gago will have it just inside the end line. 2:06 left to go here in the fourth. Gago brings it ahead. Pioneer up 6-2 over to Denson. Denson fires it all the way down. That one, that was longer than a Hail Mary and outstripped his offense. It goes out of bounds, and that will be Skyline ball. 1:54 left to go here in the fourth. Racing ahead. Skyline has it coming down the far sideline. They get over their own restraining line. That ball loose as Wilson lost it. Pioneer ball. Yang leaves it on that far sideline as Cal will bring it up. Yang will head down towards the goal line extended. As Cal has it, whistles. As that is going to be Skyline ball. I did not see, but that might have been an offsides. As that flipped ahead over onto the near wing, trying to get it. That rolled out of bounds. So they're trying to get Fry, but that pass just a little long. Pioneer ball with 1 minute 28 seconds left to go. Dutton has it on the near sideline. Dutton brings it down the near sideline for Pioneer, but then they whistle and I think Dutton's going to have to restart as they'll roll it over to Dutton. Dutton will start in the defensive zone. Now bringing it ahead, Dutton gets it over, that launched, racing down the far wing. Coming ahead is Cow over midfield, Cow into the offensive zone, coming down the number as he ends up on the ground. As there's a flag as Rothenberg ended up on top of Cow.
Skyline penalty.
Pioneer will be man up, 1 minute 12 seconds left to go here in the fourth, 6-2. Pioneer with the lead, trying to close it out. Pioneer will be at Huron next, then at Skyline and at Bedford for the next 3 games on the road. 1 minute, 2 seconds left to go. Pioneer has it in along the end line. Cow coming from the far side to the near side. Cow coming up even with the goal on the near wing. 51 seconds left to go. No shot clock in high school lacrosse. If you watched a little college lacrosse or pro, you've seen a shot clock. Not in Michigan high school lacrosse. There's a shot by Ayers who fires it in. Ayers gets it from McQueen from behind.
Goal number 2, Bennett Ayers. Assist number 24, Angus McQueen.
That at 41 seconds.
41 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Pioneer 7, Skyline 2.
Pioneer up by 5, 7-2. Wellman in to take the face-off versus Mitchell Westhoven. That ball trying to rake it up. Mitchell Westhoven takes a heavy check as there's another check and flags fly. As looks like Wellman goes to the side to take a knee. As Skyline will be man up. Newton has it. Right at midfield, just over midfield, 35 seconds left to go. Skyline would love to just get a goal, bring it a little bit closer, get a little momentum for their next game. Pioneer would love to put the icing on the cake and keep Skyline from getting it any closer. Ball outside the near hash marks. And brought ahead, back over by Zwolinski, back into midfield area. Zwolinski on that near wing, over to Simmons. Simmons back over on the far wing, still trying to get it, still fired it in as he got it just on the far side of the goal and fired it in. Still number 13.
Goal number 13, Ben Still.
15 seconds left to go.
With 15 seconds left in the game, Pioneer 7, Skyline 3.
Skyline gets it down to a 4-goal lead. Pioneer wants to finish off strong. Mitchell Westhoven in to take the face-off. Ayers on the other side. LaPointe on the near wing. Joined over there by Swaminathan. As Ayers has it, Ayers coming down on the near wing. 7 seconds left. Ayers steps into the offensive zone. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And that will do it. Pioneer beats Skyline by a score of Pioneer 7, Skyline 3. Again, next game for Pioneer will be at Huron. We will be back live on air on Monday with the women's lacrosse game versus Perrysburg. We would love to see you here, or certainly check out the game, a road game over at Huron. For my camera person, Christina Wiseman, my name is Mark Wiseman. Thank you very much for watching and cheering on either of these teams wherever you are at. We are very grateful. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and take care, everyone.